Future Market Insights expects Web3 to grow from $2.8 billion in 2023 to $116 billion by 2033. Web3's fundamental improvements to data portability is challenging the power of big platforms like Facebook and Google by enabling users to own their own data. Affinidi is looking to provide the bridge with its blockchain-focused pod of companies that use decentralized technologies to empower individuals and organizations to control their data. Glenn, this is a big question that people always talk about, the migration from Web 2 to Web 3, and this idea that you're going to get control and ownership of your own data. Affinidi's providing the infrastructure, the inner workings and pipes to make that happen. But there's a lot of skepticism amongst people that it's going to be effective. How do you get across that challenge?
I think the thing is, though, Affinidi is not a Web3 company. And in some ways, we love to label things in easy ways, such as, anything legacy now is Web 2. Anything that's disruptive and built on blockchain is Web 3.
Well, people are talking Web 4 and Web 5.
We skipped Web 4, kind of. We've gone straight to Web 5, and some people even starting about Web 6 and 8, which is just hilarious as we go through this. Affinidi, we don't cleanly fit into 2 or 3. We're a bridge connecting those 2 worlds together, because the reality is the bulk of the world's information exists in the Web 2 world. But where we want it to be is where I've got ownership of it, so I can create new customer experiences for myself by unlocking that data.
And you've got some great use cases for Affinidi's tech stack that you're already deploying, Good Worker being one of them. What is Good Worker about?
Yeah, so Good Worker has one of the most amazing missions. It's a company based out of India where they're focused on giving jobs and improving the lifestyle of blue-collar workers. In India, that's basically the poorest of the poor. 200 million people, 450 million across Asia Pacific. And the really sad thing is if you talk to a bank, it's just not worth the risk for a regulated bank to take the risk of bringing on a worker like this.
These people just stay left behind.
Yeah, they're the digital divide that we sometimes talk about as we go through this. And so for a blue-collar worker, being able to register with Good Worker, to create their first digital wallet, in that goes all the background checks that we've done on them. And then as they move from job to job, instead of resetting every single time they get a new job in a different city, different state, they start building a profile. And because we have that over time, we can then earn trust with banks to give them their first bank account, to give them unsecured loans, which is amazing because you look at this population, which was viewed as too risky, too hard. Their default rate is the lowest because it's so important to them to climb that social ladder.
The Good Worker application could be done in a centralized architecture. Why is Affinidi the right way to deploy it?
A blue-collar worker, if we up-level their lifestyle, Anthony, they may not stay in India. They may actually go overseas where Good Worker doesn't have a presence. Being able to take their own digital wallet, portfolio of evidentiary proof that's cryptographically secured with verified credentials, and so they can go into a country like Singapore and be able to prove who they are, the work they've done, the skills that they've created. That's what excites us. And you can't do that in a centralized way.
Data portability is a really big topic. How do you see it getting rolled out across organizations, retailers, manufacturers, all industries?
So the challenge with some of these technologies is actually trying to find a use case where either people care about their privacy enough or it creates a compelling customer experience that is so different to what's there. And I think we saw this actually with COVID. One of our first use cases that was used at scale was around COVID vaccinations. And if you came in and out of Singapore, for example, and used the Singapore arrival card, it just recognized any vaccination certificate from anywhere in the world. And that was using Affinidi decentralized tech behind the scenes. What made this a decentralized issue? Well, first thing is, when it came to COVID vaccinations and test results, there is no centralized organization in the world that has a mandate to force every country into a single standard. There are at one point over 150 standards globally. So you can imagine if I'm immigration or I'm a hospital, I'm trying to check all of these data, I'm not going to integrate to 150 different sources. That's also, by the way, changing all the time. Classic decentralized problem. What did Affinidi do? We act as a proxy and say we hide all of that integration. And I think that's the trick is good innovation and adoption of technologies where it works like magic. I don't need to know that it was a bit of blockchain, a bit of cryptographic magic sprinkled across that. It's just a QR code I printed out.